Hey everybody, it's Miss Moran and I'm here to talk to you this week about division, and specifically division involving remainders. So what we're going to do in this unit is try to relate everything that we are doing to something we've already done and something that we've been successful with, multiplication. So we're going to try to frame all of this division into inverse operations or thinking multiplication as a way to divide. So starting off simply with a little bit of vocabulary, our total amount that we're going to be dividing is called the dividend. We're going to divide by a divisor and end up with an answer to a division problem, which is called a quotient. So in this case, 24 divided by 3 equals 8 can mean two different things, and I'm going to show you that with pictures. 24 divided by 3 can mean 24 divided by 3 groups, where we get 8 in each group, or it can mean 24 divided by 3 things in a group, where we get 8 groups. So it's really important to understand for students to understand that if they're dividing by number of groups, their answer is going to be the number that comes in each group. And if they're dividing by the number in each group, their answer is going to become the number of groups that they have. And then we're going to think multiplication, so we don't have to learn a whole new set of division facts. And we'll think of this as 3 times 8 equals 24. Or 8 times 3 equals 24. Okay, so we're going to use that even when the division doesn't work quite right, like this one. This is 17 divided by 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to think multiplication. We're going to think 5 times some number equals 17. But knowing our facts like we do, we know there is no number times 5 that equals 17. So we're going to have to do something that is close to it without being more than our total. So I know 5 times 3 is going to be 15, and that would approach my dividend but not get quite there. It would leave 17 minus 15, 2 left over. So my answer would be 3 with a remainder of 2, which you could check by saying 3 times 5 is 15 and add on 2 more to get to 17. All right, here's 22 divided by 3. So we're thinking to ourselves, 3 times some number equals 22. There is no number times 3 to equal 22. It is not divisible. So 3 times 7 would be 21. That's one number away. That leaves me with one remainder left over. So 7 with a remainder of 1. Also, what we might see for division as we get into larger numbers and long division, although we will not be doing long division until 6th grade, we will do versions of that with partial quotients next week. But same idea here. We're thinking 7 times some number equals 18. 7 times nothing equals 18, but 7 times 2 equals 14. That would leave me with 4 left over, and so my answer 2, remainder 4. All right, so that's all pretty simple stuff. What we're going to be doing that'll give us the most amount of difficulty this week is knowing how to interpret a remainder. So we're going to look at some word problems, see if we can make sure we can understand the meaning of the problem and what we do with our remainder and how that helps us to come up with an answer. So this is Madison is making bracelets. She had 38 beads, and each bracelet uses 9 beads. How many bracelets did she make? So we're going to do this as 38 divided by 9, where 9 is either a number of groups or the number in a group. In this case, she's using 9 beads for each bracelet, so this is 9 in a group. So we're going to figure out how many groups or how many bracelets she can make. So I'm going to think multiplication. 9 times some number equals 38. That doesn't work, so we're going to end up with a remainder. 9 times 4 equals 36. That would leave me with a remainder of 2 left over. So my answer is going to be 4, remainder 2 for the math problem, but that's not the answer to the story. The answer to the story is how many bracelets can she make? So the first situation we're going to see come up with what can you do with the remainder is to use the quotient, ignoring the remainder when groups have to be full. So I can't make a bracelet out of only 2 beads, so I'm going to say I can make 4 bracelets, and those 2 remainders just basically have to be ignored. They're unused in this story. All right, here's another question. There are 46 students waiting to enter the cafeteria. They will sit at tables with 10 students at each table. How many tables will be needed to seat all the students? So this is 46 divided by 10, where in this case 10 is the number in each group, the number of kids who can sit at each table. Okay, so I'm going to think multiplication. 10 times some number equals 46. I know 10s have to end in 0, so I know that will have a remainder. 10 times 4 would equal 40. That would leave us with 6 left over. So this is going to be 4 with a remainder of 6. So in our last problem, we ignored that remainder and just made it 4. But in this case, we can't ignore the remainder and make it 4 tables, because if we made it 4 tables, we'd have 6 kids who are standing with nowhere to sit. So in this situation, we want to round our quotient up, using our remainder to make another group so that everything can be included. All of the dividend must be included. So all 46 students need to enter the cafeteria. So even though the answer to my division problem is 4 remainder 6, the answer to my story is 5 tables will be needed. So I'm going to round my quotient up because of my remainder. All right, and my last question. A grocer packs 59 oranges into trays for displays. If each tray holds 6 oranges, how many oranges will be in the partially filled tray? So this is 59 divided by 6, where 6 is the number of things in a group. Okay, so 6 times some number equals 59. 6 times 9 is 54. That's going to leave me with a remainder of 5. So my answer to this division problem is 9 remainder 5, but that's not the answer to my story. So in this case, 9 would be the number of trays we would need to hold full cases of oranges. 10 would be how many cases we would need to hold all of the oranges, but that's not what the question asks. The question is how many oranges will be in a partially filled tray. So this one, our third situation, is the remainder is actually our answer. So in this case, the number of oranges that are in the partially filled tray is 5 oranges. 5 oranges remaining. There is one more thing that you can do, which we're not going to do in this point in 4th grade, but is to use the remainder as a fraction or a decimal. So if we have to include every bit of our total in the exact number of groups we have, this would be like money amounts or fractions or parts of an object that could be split. Again, so these are the 3 things we're going to be doing. Ignoring the remainder and using a quotient, rounding our quotient up so that we are making 1 extra group, or using the remainder as our answer. All right, so we're going to be practicing using multiplication as a strategy for division, also drawing pictures and knowing what to do with the remainder in a word problem. All right, thank you for watching, and next week I'll have another video involving division with larger numbers using partial quotient strategy. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and like and comment the video if you want.